Hi there and welcome to tonight's screencast. I'm going to go over some of the topics that will be on tomorrow's quiz on the basic syntax of C#, including assignment statements, conditional statements, and loops. So let's get going. Alright, first thing I'm going to do here is create a new C# project, just a regular old Windows form app. And like I think I've told you, I always want you to save the project and not just save an individual file when you're creating an app location and when you're editing one. So I'm just going to put my working project here into a junk folder, which I have called deletable. Alright, and let's just call this test practice. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's see, all I'm going to use as far as event handlers go are the load event of my form. So when I double click on that, it's going to bring up the load event. And the first thing I'm going to do is let me declare a few variables, because I think I've told you that there are 4 types of variables that you want to be familiar with and be able to declare and assign values to. So the first one I'm going to declare is going to be an int variable, and let me say int x equals 6. And let me say int y equals -3000, and int z equals, let's call it 1,234,567. So those are all int variables that hold integers between, I think, like -2 billion and +2 billion. Alright, so now let's do some double variables. So I'm going to say double, let's go with d, and that equal to 4.56, and then a semicolon. And of course you need semicolons after every single variable declaration and assignment statement. And remember that to declare a variable, you have to give the name of the type of variable you're declaring before you give the name. So you always list the type first. Let me call this E, and I think E is like 2.71 something. And then let me say double F equals, and I'll just make up a big negative double value, something like that. Alright, and then the 2 other types of variables are string variables and Boolean variables. So let me say string, let's see, how about M equals, let's say mathematics, and string C equals, string CS equals computer science. Alright. And one other important thing to know is you don't actually have to assign a value to the variable when you declare it, although you do need to assign a value to it before you use it in another assignment statement or in a loop. Or something along those lines. So I could just say string K, and int, RTV, and double, QX, and not assign initial values to those variables. Alright, now the other one that I want you to know is a Boolean variable, which is BOOL. So let's call this one, how about V, and then we'll set that one equal to true. And then we'll also say, how about A equals false. Okay, so there are some basic variable declarations. Now, in the event handler, in the load event handler, let me do some other assignment statements with them. So first of all, let me show you how to use messagebox.show to put out some string values. So let me first of all do, let's say, how about I do mathematics is fun, or maybe computer science is fun, which is probably a little bit more accurate. So let's see, CS is my computer science variable, and once again, remember, things are case sensitive. So I'm going to concatenate, and in C# and the C languages and Java, concatenation is a plus of strings is a plus sign. So I'm going to say CS plus is fun. Okay. And now when, messagebox.show. Okay, so now when I run my program, I should get a little message box that says, oops, no I didn't. Let's see, what is wrong here? Bool v equals true. I guess v might be, do I use v already? Well, let's try v1. Let's see, what's it saying? Oh, that was kind of a false reading on the OOL because it's the X that was causing the problem. So let me say S instead. Alright, and now what's it saying? Oh, there we go. Alright, now what's the problem? Oh, duh. Very poor memory. It would be, let's make another variable B. Alright, now let's try it. Alright, there we go. We've concatenated text together, and I could also use that in an assignment statement. So let me say string, P equals CS plus is fun. Alright, then I would have an assignment statement. So now let me do a little bit of arithmetic with my numeric values. So if I do messagebox.show and I just do x plus y, it's going to, well, give me an error, right? Because x plus y plus, in this case, since you're joining two numeric values together, is arithmetic. If just one of these values that you're concatenating is a string, then it treats the whole thing as concatenation. However, since both of these are numeric values, if I want to actually display the sum, I would have to use .toString, and remember, you need open and close parentheses and things to be case sensitive. So this should give me negative 2,994 when I run it. Let's see. I wonder why that other, oh yeah, there we go, negative 2,994. Okay, let's see what else I can do. Alright, well, why don't I move on to conditional statements, since I already have Boolean variables. So a conditional statement is always going to look something like this. It's going to be if, and then a condition that can be evaluated as true or false. So let me say if x plus y equals negative 2,994, okay, then I'm going to hit an enter. I do an open curly brace, then I hit enter, and I'm automatically tabbed in by one level of indentation, and then I'm going to say, alright, messagebox.show true. Okay, so let me get rid of this other part. And now what's my problem? Oh, I didn't finish the semicolon and the curly brace. Now note there is no semicolon after the closing parentheses of the condition of a conditional statement. You go right into the open curly brace. You only have a semicolon after the statements within the block of code following the condition. So let's see. All right, so that one worked. Now, if I want to do else, I do else, and then I'll do message box dot show, and I'll do false. All right, and then a semicolon, and then a closing curly brace, which should be indented back outwards. So let me change this so that I'm going to get something that should be false. And yep, it is false. Okay, if you want to do else and then else if and then else ifs, you can string them together something like this. So I'm going to say if x equals 5, then message box show x equals 5. Else, and then I'm going to say if, with no space in between, message if x equals 4, then another message box.show x equals 4. And then lastly, if I want to do an else, I'm going to do else, and then an open curly brace, and then message box.show, let's see, x not equal to 5, and x not equal to 4. And then finally, I'm going to end with a closing curly brace. So let's see, what is my value of x? It's 6. So I should have the final situation show. So let me run that, and yep, that is indeed what happens. All right, so also important to know, the exclamation point means not equal to. So I could say, instead of, how about x, let's see, not, oops, let me stop debugging. So if I do x not equal to 4, let's do not equal to 4. Okay, now this time this second condition is true, so I should get message box x not equal to 4. That is correct. All right, the other thing are ands and ors. In C# and the C languages, and is 2 ampersands together. Okay. So it should be something like that. So let's see if what happens here. Yep. Okay. And the or situation for conditional statements is 2 vertical slash symbols. So I could say if x is not equal to 4 and x is not equal to 5, and then let me do debug, stop debugging. Let's do or x equals 6. Oops, no, that would be up here. Or we're in the wrong spot. X equals oops, x, oh. Alright, I'm going to have to put the outer parenthesis first. Remember, you always need, and even when you're joining a compound conditional statement, the conditions in it, you always need one outer set of parentheses that joins everything, then closes everything. So, or x equals 6, okay, so I'm going to have 2 then, or x equals 6. Okay, so let's try running that. Yep, it worked. Okay, so those are conditional statements, and, or, equals to. Remember, you always need the two equals when you're checking for equality in conditional statements, not in assignment statements. In assignment statements, you only use one equals symbol. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is a for loop and a while loop. So in C#, the typical for loop looks something like this. I less than, let's see, 100, and then I plus plus. And then I'm going to do, let's see, let me build a string in this loop. So I'm going to do string, let's see, sum equals null. Null is the symbol, is what you write instead of the word nothing or blank quotation marks in Visual Basic. And I'm going to say, let's see, sum plus equals, let's see, int dot to string, and then plus, and then I haven't gone over this with you yet, but in C#, to get a line feed, let's see, you do, oh, this should be I, that's the problem, I dot to string, and then let's see, new line in constant. So let's do, alright, and then semicolon. Okay, so now, and at the end, I'm going to do messagebox.show. Actually, first I need to close out the for loop, and then do messagebox.show, and then let me do sum. And I should get a big old, oops, yep, there I go. I get a big old message box that has basically all of the numbers, or at least it would if I had a big enough screen for it, the numbers between 1 and 99. Alright, so what went on here? Well, I started, I declared an I counter variable. I set it equal to 1 initially, then you put a semicolon, then you put a condition for the loop stopping, in this case, as long as I is less than 100, so my loop is effectively going to go up to 99, and then I++, that increments the counter variable by 1. Oh yes, that's another thing. Plus plus means add 1 to something in the C languages, and minus minus means subtract 1 from something. So every time through the body of this loop, I'm adding the next value of I to a string I'm building, and then I'm actually concatenating \n space, which is the equivalent of CHR13 and CHR10 in Visual Basic. Alright, so now let me do a while loop. So let me stop debugging, and the syntax for a while loop is while, and then all you do is put a condition. So let me write this same loop, but in the form of a while loop instead. So I'm going to say, I'm going to have to give a value to I before I go into the loop. Oh, excuse me, very tired right now. I equals 1. Then I'm going to say, let's see, while, and then let me do I less than 100. And then open curly brace for the body. What's it telling me here? Oh yes, I'm going to have to redeclare it. Int I equals 1. I less than 100, I'm going to say what? I'm going to say, oh yeah, I need to increment or set sum to be null again. Sum equals null. I'm going to say sum plus equals I dot to string plus \n. Alright, and then I need to do a close for the curly brace, and what's it saying? A local variable cannot be declared in the scope. Oh, okay, let's just do a different variable. I don't want to get into the issue that we're running into. So let's just say k, and hopefully I don't have a k up here. Oh, good. Yeah. Yes, I do. Let's just get rid of this one. Okay, so now I should get the same thing. Show sum. Alright, so let me get rid of this loop, and oops, and I of course deleted this, my sum variable. Alright, so now I should end up with the exact same thing as before, except it's in the form of a while loop. Alright, so where is my message box dot show sum? What am I doing wrong here? Well, okay, oops, I forgot to do, I went into an infinite loop because I forgot to increment k. So k, since k never changed, it was always 1 and the loop would have just gone on forever. So let's try it now. Okay, yes. So I did get the same thing. So I think you can probably see like the for loop is a little bit more concise because it essentially includes this part and this part right in the statement, the for statement, which is essentially where the while statement is. So it's actually 2 lines shorter than the for version of it was. Alright, I hope someone found this helpful. Someone actually watched it. I'm sorry for droning on forever, or what seems to be forever. Yep. Let me see how long it has been. It is on, wow, 22 minutes. My gosh, horrible. Oh well. At any rate, I'll call it a night for now. And if you have watched and actually email me the message tomorrow.